Today is Friday, June 16. Tomorrow, will be the 51st anniversary of the break-in at the Watergate Hotel that led, 2 years later, to the resignation of Richard Nixon as President of the United States. And today we find ourselves in Rosslyn, Virginia, in a triangle of land where Nash Street divides briefly to join Wilson Boulevard. We are here to note this historical marker that you see to the right of the screen under the Rosslyn sign, and the basement garage next to it that we see just ahead of us. This marker tells us in part that, quote, Mark Felt, second in command at the FBI, met Washington Post reporter Bob Woodward here in the parking garage to discuss the Watergate scandal. Felt provided Woodward information that exposed the Nixon administration's obstruction of the FBI Watergate investigation, end quote. They met 6 times between October 1972 and November 1973, and Nixon resigned on August 9, 1974. In mid-1973, I returned to my parents' home in New Jersey from 4 years in West Africa as a Peace Corps volunteer. The country was awash in scandal, and the Senate hearings were underway. My mother was in poor health, and my father's engineering firm was not doing well. Their respite was what Nixon called wallowing in Watergate. They took delight in wallowing and knew every character, every clue, and every turn of the story. It was not a happy time at home nor nationally, but my parents and I bonded over this epic story. Joining us today is Pat Towell, a long-term Trinity parishioner. What do you remember from that time, Pat?
Ben, it was a politically fraught period. Vietnam was the front burner issue before the country, but there were clear signs, strong signs of reaction against the civil rights legislation of the early 60s and the growing movement for equal rights for women. And passions ran pretty high. I recall getting a faint whiff of tear gas in front of the Conrad Hilton Hotel in Chicago during the 1968 Democratic Convention. And yet, as as Watergate unfolded, it actually turned out to be a bit of a bonanza for a novice teacher of political science, as I was at the time. I was teaching international relations, and there wasn't all that much of direct benefit to me. I was trying to get 20-year-olds interested in the U.S.-Soviet nuclear balance. But to my beloved friends, Charles McCall, Gene Clark, who were teaching various aspects of American politics, for them it was a gold mine. All you had to do was pick up the morning LA Times, and bingo, there was your lesson plan for today's class. Because fundamentally the system was working as advertised.
Yes, indeed, Pat, the system was working. But what a shame that we had sunk so low. And by those standards, our present day represents, for many, a yet deeper low. So where do people of faith turn? Today, the whole church celebrates the solemnity of the Sacred Heart of Jesus. As a Protestant, I have come to appreciate deeply the Sacred Heart, in that it captures crucial dynamics of our Catholic faith. Jesus' heart burning with love for all humanity, yet at the same time surrounded by the crown of thorns that bring pain to the one who loves. Surmounting the heart is the cross, the sign of Jesus' love for all humankind, and his suffering from the hatred of those who opposed him. This is our heart too, his and ours as a single heart that loves, though in pain. The Watergate scandal, with all the other divisive dynamics of that era, the Vietnam War and the arms race among others, tore at the heart of our country, one that we loved, either as it was or as it could be. Same today in our country, still torn by division, risking all that is good about it, Let's pray for Jesus' blessing through his sacred heart, that we can learn to live in peace with one another.